Hey guys, welcome to this video and my channel. My name is Heather. I'm the owner and creator here at Wicked Whiskey Designs, and today it is all about the Milky Ways. We are doing Milky Way tumblers. These are probably one of my favorite tumblers to do. It's a great excuse to pull every single glitter off your cabinet and just go to town on it, but they're really easy and they're not anywhere near as intimidating as you think they really are. In my tips and tricks section at the end of this video, probably a lot of rambling, but also every tip and trick I can possibly think of so that you can make this tumbler as easy and as perfect as possible. All of the products that I've used on this video are linked in the description box below, so definitely check that out. And don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. It's a brand new channel. I have a ton of content on the way for you. You definitely want to be notified when the videos drop, because sometimes my schedule doesn't always work out like I think it's going to. But all that being said, like I said, today it's all about the Milky Ways. These are so much fun to make, and I'm going to go ahead and get started, show you everything you need to make this tumbler. So please forgive my messy work area, like usual. There's glitter everywhere. These are the glitters we are using. Absolutely gorgeous. I love these. These are primarily from Chase Ray Creations. They're absolutely gorgeous. They're like, if you are somebody who's done tumblers for any amount of time, you normally have your favorite glitter dealers. She is quickly becoming my favorite, or one of my favorites, I should say. But, oops. And that right there is why there's glitter everywhere around my house. But this is the pastel rainbow we're working with. I did swap out two colors. The yellow is actually from Glitter Geeks. It is called, I can't read that, Legendary, I don't know. I can't read it. I'm trying to read it through the camera. So I swapped this out, and this one is, I believe, Mojito 2.0, also from Chase Ray. She has, I shouldn't say she, they have different bundles, and minus these two, this is all kind of the span of their pastel rainbow bundle. The yellow and the green, I just kind of wanted a little more pop for what I was doing. They're gorgeous, but I kind of wanted something that kind of stood out a little bit more. So I actually took the green from her neon rainbow pack and swapped that out for this. And then, like I said, this is Glitter Geeks. So I just kind of wanted to show you what we're working with. Look at all those colors. So pretty. Okay, that's it. Okay, so let's go have some fun. You're going to go ahead and start with a white spray paint base tumbler. After that, you're going to go ahead and add about 15 mLs of epoxy and apply that with a gloved hand. Once that epoxy is applied, you're going to go ahead and start with your glitter. Now, for this particular tumbler, I like a real hard swirl. And by that, I mean I start my glitter either at the top or the bottom, and then I follow that line of a swirl almost meeting where it started on the opposite end. So if I started at the very top, I would run the swirl all the way around the cup until it meets almost at the bottom, depending on what direction my spinner is spinning. And as you can see here, we're in my super not fancy work area where there's glitter and crap everywhere. Start with a pink, then I moved on to a peach, to a yellow, and then again to a green, a blue, and a purple. Now you want as much full coverage on this base, on this layer, as you can. If you do find that when you get finished that maybe you didn't go as heavy with a color as you thought, or it didn't cover exactly as much as you wanted, you can go back and add a little bit extra, as you see I'm doing here in the video with the yellow, and make sure it's all perfect. And obviously I did not have my zoom set right when I did this part of the video, but you're going to go ahead and apply the next coat of epoxy once that first coat is cured. Mix up probably 20 or 30 mLs of epoxy. Go ahead and add that with a gloved hand, and you're just going to sprinkle a little bit of extra glitter. This is a pretty simple Milky Way. I'm not going too crazy with different layers of glitter, but I did go ahead, add a little bit of chunky opal, a chunky silver white, and then also a translucent chunky purple. It just kind of felt like that's where I needed to go with it, so that's what I did. The rule to awesome Milky Ways is always more glitter. The more the better. And I'm a big fan of chunky on these things. Next, you are going to go ahead and lightly blow out your bubbles and then go ahead and let that spin. Once that has cured, you're going to go ahead and next hit that with some clear spray sealer. This is going to help the next layer of epoxy from repelling against that chunky glitter. One thing that I always seem to forget to show you guys is how I bottom out my cups. If I sit there and try to apply glitter while it's on the spinner, it's going to go everywhere. So I don't bother with that. Once my cup is cured, I go ahead and throw down some glitter on a piece of parchment paper. I hit the bottom of my cup with some spray adhesive to make sure the whole thing is fully coated. And then I just go ahead and dip the bottom of that cup into that pile of glitter and mush it around a little bit and call it a day. Tap off any excess and go ahead and seal that with your normal spray sealer. You're good to go. Now that your cup has been covered with spray sealer, you are going to apply your next coat of epoxy. You want to do the white swoosh part on a relatively smooth cup. So you're going to apply 1 or 2 coats of epoxy to cover that chunky glitter. Don't forget to blow out your micro bubbles too. Once you have a reasonably smooth cup, you are going to move on to the next step. This is where you are going to add the white swoosh effects, or the Milky Way is what we're actually should be calling it. Go ahead and apply about 20 to 30 mLs of epoxy and blow it out with your torch so you have no micro bubbles. I use white Pinata alcohol ink in a small little squirt bottle like you can see. Less is more. Do not drown this in white alcohol ink or you will be sorry and you'll be pulling swirls for days. So just add little drops around the cup and then using a gloved hand, just lightly swoosh that, I guess for a lack of a better technical term. You're just going to lightly pull that alcohol ink following the pattern that you have set with your glitter. You're not going to go real heavy. You're going to use a very light touch and then keep working it. It doesn't happen right away. You're going to have to kind of let it swirl around a few times to, to get it to where you like it. And then if it's too light, you can do more dramatic swooshes, just add a little bit of extra alcohol ink and then pull. The heavier you pull with your hand, the lighter it's going to be. So if you want a little more of a dramatic look, use a lighter touch and a little bit more alcohol ink. And this is where we're at. Add another coat of epoxy once that alcohol ink layer is done. And this is what it turns out to be. Absolutely stunning.
Hey guys. Okay, so tips and tricks on how to make this. These are really, really easy. I mean, if you look at them, you're like, what do I do with all that? They're easy, I promise. And when I said before that the more glitter, the better, I honestly believe that. This video actually is a pretty simple Milky Way. And by that, I mean, normally when I do Milky Ways, I usually stack layers of glitter. Like I will sometimes have 3 separate layers of glitter just so that you have that dimension. But with this being the very first Milky Way, tutorial on the channel, I kind of want to just do something a little bit easier. I kind of feel like sometimes I'm like, oh, let's go so big and do this big thing. And, I kind of forget the fact that you need foundation. We need foundation. So easy, some easy stuff. And then we'll go back to the harder stuff or whatever. So anyway, this is the rambling portion of this section. We know that by now, right? Tips and tricks on how to make Milky Ways. Number 1, I usually start with a white base. Unless it is something that it's going to be like neon pink or, if I've got certain glitter colors that respond better on a black base, then I would change up the color. But honestly, for the most part, I almost always start with a white base. Definitely, and I know I've said this before, but I always feel like it has to be said again. When you lay your epoxy down and you put your glitter down, before you do your next run of epoxy, hit it with spray sealer, especially if you're working with chunky glitter. Depending on your epoxy, excuse me, depending on your epoxy, and I think also kind of where you live, some epoxies and chunky glitter will repel each other. So it's better to kind of avoid that entire scenario. Hit it with spray sealer. It's going to make sure that your epoxy doesn't repel against that glitter, because when that happens, it's a pain in the ass, and either you have to start all over again or you have to fix it, and you're going to be sad. So just avoid it altogether. When it comes to the swirly swirl, the white effect, or whatever color you're using, you know, I didn't touch on it in this video because it wasn't the kind of Milky Way I was going for, but you don't have to just use white. I use white alcohol ink, and that's fine. You know, you can use different colors, whatever, but you can also break out mica powders, you know, mix some of that in with your epoxy. You can go all kinds of bougie on this. You really can. And those are the really fun Milky Ways, because you can literally pull out any color you want, do color combinations that you wouldn't expect that'll come out beautiful. You can start breaking out mica powders. You can break out all sorts of colors. Like your imagination, just go buck wild. So there's a lot of potential, a lot of lots of good times with these kind of tumblers. But I digress. So back to what I was saying. When it comes to adding the white swirl effect, less is more, okay? Do not be like me. Don't be like me. Me, who has to constantly, if I do this once, I do this at least once a week, even though I know better. Do not add tons of white, okay? Do not get your little popsicle stick and be like, white, 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 all the way down the cup, like Heather does. I do that so many times, and it's stupid, because I know that it's too much. Start with just a little bit of white, pull it, okay, and then see where you are. You can go back and add more. If you put too much on, you're going to be it's going to take over the entire cup, and you're not going to see your glitter. You're going to get mad, all right? You're going to be breaking out the paper towels, wiping it off. Ask me how I know. Be smart. Just add a little bit. Pull it, see where you're at. If you want more, it's not dramatic enough for you, then add more and go that route. You can also pull it all to where it's all very, you know, I mean, this is, I don't know if you can see, this is pretty calm. Like there's no big dramatic whooshes. It's just a nice, you know, subtle, soft little haze over the whole thing. If you're going for drama, then, you know, you could do this and then go back, add more, and to where, you know, you're pulling more dramatic lines. That's something that as you go through, you're going to play with it. You're going to figure out what works for you. This is one of those things where I've seen people do this 100 different ways. And that's true, because honestly, like, you can have two people do the same exact cup, same exact ingredients, supplies, same glitter, same everything, and they are going to be totally different, because everybody has their own way of doing things. And I've watched so many videos where these amazing women, you know, they put these lines, they have their little stick and they put them down, and then they just then they hit it with the heat, and it just kind of comes out perfect. And I've tried those ways, and they just don't work for me. This is my style. This is how I like to do it. You know, and one thing I will have to say, watch different people's videos, okay? And don't leave me, you know, stay with me, but watch other people's videos, because everybody has different ways of doing things. And especially when I started, I would sit there and you know, watch all these different creators and all of their techniques, and then I would try them. And, you know, this person may be my favorite creator ever, and how she did it, I tried it and looked like trash. Like the first 5 times I did it, it just wasn't my vibe. So then, you know, this person's still my favorite, but now I go over here and we go ahead and try how she did it. And her way didn't look as bad when I did it. Maybe not perfect. And then you go to creator number 3, and I never thought about doing that. Let me try that. So different creators are going to bring different things to the table. It's up to you to figure out what's going to work best for you, because even the most, you know, amazing, perfect creator, your favorite person, doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to be what works for you. I hope that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, definitely watch different people's, you know, videos and start, you know, cherry picking some of those ideas. If you are rolling with what one person is advising you or instructing you or suggesting how you do something and it's just not working, try something else. And that's where my Milky Ways have evolved into, because like I said, I would see these people and they're freaking gorgeous. Like what they do and how they do what they do, it's amazing. And then when I would try it, I'd be like, well, that looks like total shit. So this thing where I'm just like taking my hand and just pulling it, that works for me. Okay. If that does not work for you, I understand that, but it works for me. And, yeah. So like I said, less is more. If you get, you know, kind of caught up in the weeds and you have too much on there, you can continue to keep fighting the good fight and pulling it. Obviously you can also take a paper towel, wipe it off, start all over again. I can't tell you how many times I've done that. Even at this point, after all the ones I've done, I still do that. Macy, what else? Anything else? Like I said, these are really easy. Blow out your bubbles. I did not add decal to this. I'll be honest. When I started doing this cup, in my head, it was going to be much different. And then I just kind of lost my way on it. I was just kind of like, you know, I get about 3 or 4 days in and I was just kind of like, what am I doing with this thing? And I just couldn't get back to whatever my original idea was. I have a tendency to write things down in hieroglyphics, and then I'm thinking I'm going to remember exactly this great vision in my head, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So when it comes to decaling, the possibilities are endless. You can go with like, I know, who is it? Tech Wrap has an absolutely gorgeous pastel gradient vinyl. That would be pretty on this. White, silver. You can break out pastel colors, pastel pinks, blues, mints, whatever. Lots of things you can do with this. So they're a lot of fun. They're not intimidating. The best way to do is just jump right on into it. I mean, honestly, do one. It may or may not look good. You know what I mean? I say that as somebody who has, it took me a while to get Milky Ways kind of to where I was really happy with them. You know, if you nail it on the first try, you're off and running. If it didn't come out like you want, try again. And when in doubt, add more glitter. I find that's usually what makes me the happiest. You know, if I sit there and add a coat of glitter and then I'm like, well, this could do better. And then the next coat, maybe I add some chunky, or I add some opal, or I add some this, or add some that. So the more glitter, the better. I think that's kind of it. To be honest with you, there's really not too much to, you know, as far as tips and tricks on these, because like they're pretty straightforward. But if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. If you, you know, question anything, like I'm here to help you. So definitely leave it in the comments, or if you don't want to do that, shoot me a message. And definitely, oh my Lord, please show me what you're working on. You know, it's one thing for me to sit here behind this little camera phone and be like, you know, so this is what you should do and this is how we do it. I would love to see what you're actually doing. You know, how do I say this? You know, I am not a YouTube creator of great, you know, magical importance here, so to speak. I don't have 200,000 followers. I haven't been doing this for 5 years on film. So I kind of feel, I kind of wonder sometimes if anything that I am sharing, if it does help. And if it does, I would love to see that. Or even not. I mean, if you do something and you're like, yeah, you said to do this and this is how it turned out, let me help you. I'm happy to do that. But yeah, I would love to see what you're creating. So definitely hit me up. I'm everywhere on social media. Tag me, or say if you don't want to do that, shoot me a message, because I definitely would love to see what you guys are working on. I think that's pretty much it. I feel like that's a good chunk of rambling for me for this video. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. See ya.